Welcome to the Panama Hat Tour by Panama Hats Direct. Ecuador borders Colombia and Peru and is broken into three different regions: the coastal region, the Sierra region, and the jungle region. Montecristi Panama hats originate on the coast near Puerto Viejo, and Cuenca Panama hats originate from the town of Cuenca, which is in the Sierra, and about 12 hours difference in a bus on a drive. Montecristi is right on the coast, right near Manta. Manta is a bigger city and so is listed on most maps, whereas Montecristi is really small, a very small town about 30 minutes outside of Manta, on the coast, and is where all the famous Montecristi Panama hats are woven. Our tour begins in Montecristi, Ecuador, and is the theme of this Panama hat video. Most Panama hats are woven right outside Montecristi, Ecuador, and generally takes quite a bit of hiking to get to the weavers' homes. There are many people involved in the production of a Panama hat, and the weavers are the first of them. The weavers generally cultivate and grow their own paja toquilla, but there are others who do just that, the growing and the cultivating of the paja. Most of the weavers turn in their rough hats to the finishers in the city of Montecristi, Ecuador. But the real mystery begins with the paja toquilla, or rather the heart of the paja toquilla plant. Once the men have harvested the straw, the women of the house then go to work, first separating the stalk from the inner heart of the plant, then boiling that for a few seconds in boiling water, and in turn hanging it to dry. After it is dried, it is then time to smoke the green out of the straw through a long sulfur smoking process, where the straw is placed in a box and receives the sulfur smoke until it has changed in color. Once the straw comes out of the sulfur smoke box, it is hung to dry and then can be split into fine strands of straw with the fingernail. That will be used to begin the weaving stage. The finer the straw is split, the finer the hat will be woven. The weaver will then select half a dozen straws or so to divide them into 4 groups and begin weaving the center of the hat, adding straws as it gets further out, which creates the vueltas or rings at the top of the hat. Generally speaking, the more vueltas or rings that a hat has, the finer it is, but not always is it that way. Some weavers make finer weaves with less vueltas than others do. Once the top of the hat has been woven, it will need to be placed on a block in order to weave down the sides of the hat, and then towards the brim of the hat. When you request a large brim from us, this is the point in which we need to catch a weaver at, is when he is in the process of weaving the brim, so that we can have him continue to weave a larger brim to meet your specifications, or, in some cases, a smaller brim to stop a little earlier. Here in these pictures we see a father and son weaving a very fine Panama hat. This is unusual because the younger generation has stopped learning this art, preferring the easier, faster, coarser woven hats to earn their money. This is of great concern because if the younger generation does not continue to learn this art, then the art could disappear. Years ago there used to be a hat that was woven so fine it was finer than fabric. That hat has died off with its weavers, and today the finest of these hats can only be woven by a handful of weavers who are in their 70s and 80s. Once a hat reaches this point in the weaving process, it is time to pass it on to a new weaver. It now goes to the back weavers, who actually finish the outer edge of the Panama hats. As you can see in this video, it is a different type of weave that is being done to close the outer edge and actually weave the straws backwards into the hat and closing the hat completely. At this point, the hat has reached the end of the weaving process and now needs to be cleaned up. All of the longer straws clipped down to the very bottom, and all of the remaining loose ends of straws will be clipped down so that they are flush with the hat. This process is most commonly performed with a Gillette razor so that the straw is clipped off at the very base without ever leaving any sign that there was ever a straw there. This process is done by the hat finishers, who finish the hats, cleaning them up, and do the final blocking stage of the hat, and do any repairs that are necessary to the hat as well. This is a step that can only be performed in Monte Cristi, Ecuador itself, right with the weavers or the repairers of the Panama hats. Is the only place it's possible to repair a hat in this way. Another important step that the finishers of the Panama hats do is the actual closing of the back woven edge. After it comes back from the back weaver who has actually woven that back edge, they now need to tighten that weave back up. They first moisten it in a little bit of water so that it's flexible and easily moved, and then by the hand pull from one direction and the other direction to actually make the back woven edge completely closed in it, so that it will not be able to be opened back up, and it cannot continue to be woven. This is the closing and is the permanent closing of the Panama hat. If it ever is changed from here, the brim could be made smaller by opening this back up, but it can never be extended from this point forward. The next stage in the final blocking process is preparing of the sulfur, as you can see here, preparing of the sulfur that will then be beaded into the hat in order to flatten out the weaves of the straw, which looks a little brutal and can damage a hat at times if the paliador, as they're called, are not beating at the proper speed or rate, or does it too hard. It can destroy a Panama hat. As soon as the hat is finished with the paliador, it will then need to be cleaned up and then put in a pre-block that is a square block in order to iron it and level everything out consistently once and for all. This pre-block will be used to flatten any irregularities in the hat before it is actually put on a shape, or a block that has the final shape. Now that the hat has finished the blocking stages, it will need to be packed up. We use balsa wood boxes whenever we can, which are handmade as well and packaged securely. We also store our hats, as we have them in storage, in balsa wood boxes to keep them protected. Well, that completes the hat process. We hope you enjoyed the short film, and be looking for other films that will be coming in the future. We're going to be doing a full motion video of a high quality DVD that will be coming out shortly. So be watching your email addresses. We'll send you a notice once that is available, and that will show much more in depth each step of this process and even more information on each one of those. So be looking for that in the future. We hope you have enjoyed this video and hope you enjoy the rest of our website at Panama Hats Direct.